Cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Nice. So, any questions after eating some food and thinking about it and stuff? Does somebody have any questions in terms of what we covered until now?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Try to run this Create React app, and it says that there is some some problems regarding running scripts. It's disabled on my machine, and it should enable something like PowerShell or something like this.
I don't understand. Can you what's
Try to run Create React app and install that, and then try to run that. But it says that this create react app.ps1 cannot be loaded because running a script is disabled on this system.
Oh,
And then
do you have a Windows machine?
Yes.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. I'm actually not sure about that, but I will share the you can use the npx command, you can use this one. I will share try to use that. I will share it on Slack. Try to do this one. npx create react app and give it the name of your app. Try to do that.
Okay, I'll give this a try. Yes, and it drops. Great, thank you.
Yes. Any questions related to what we did until now in terms of creating components, in terms of passing props, in terms of using these components built by us? No?
I assume now that everyone's got a belly full of food, everyone must be an expert at React now, and we can all move on to the next module.
No, definitely not. I'm sure homework is going to kill us. But as of now, when Yunus is explaining, we get everything. But when we do our homework, we are going to. I'm scared of it already.
Yeah, but we will give you some time to. We will try to give you some time so you can run the thing and roll and try it, and you can ask us on Slack. So yeah, we will try to arrange something like that. But let's continue. So we did this until now. We talked that we can create components using functions. Okay. There is a second way of creating components. It's called the class-based component. It's start to fade. It's still sort of an official thing, but it start to fade because of this function. So there's a different way. Let me just show you how to do that, how to build a React component in the second way that I've talked about before. And the second way is just like you say class, hello user class. So this is a hello user normal, this is hello user class, or you can name it 2 or whatever you want. Okay, so it's a class, and you use extends react.component. Is everyone here familiar with the extend keyword?
No.
No? Okay.
I have used in my earlier homework, and then our mentor, he told us not to, he told me not to use that extend.
Okay.
I found it on Stack Overflow.
Yeah. So let's discuss extend a bit. Imagine you have a class. Okay. It's called person. And it has a name. So we say constructor. And in the constructor we say, damn it. In the constructor we say this dot name equal name, and the name we pass it here. If we do something like that, we can create C or P equal new person, and we give it a name. So let's say Yunus. So now we can say p.name, and it's Yunus. Is everybody familiar with the concept of a class like this? Or
Yes.
not?
Yes.
This is plain old classes. Constructor is the method used to build the class. So every time you say new person, it will invoke this function. People are familiar with that. Okay?
Mhm.
Yes. So there is something called inheritance, and it's achieved with the word extend. What I mean by inheritance, imagine you have a class called student. Okay? And the student, let me just introduce another thing here. Let's have, for example, say hi. Say hi is a function. It's like console.log hello name. This.name. And we can do the same. We can build a new person and say p.name, but we can also say hi. Does this make sense? Now a person has a say hi method. Cool. Imagine that we have a class student. It's literally the same. It has a name, so we can say constructor. We'll say this.name equal name and name, and we need say hi. It's the same say hi, but additionally the student has this dot grade. Let's say 17, for example. Or we can say here grade and grade. Does this make sense? Okay. So you can see that there is some repetition here. We have a person. A person already has a name and a say hi method. Imagine that this person class is super complex. It has CPR. It has so many things. In the student, we don't want to redefine name and redefine hi. Instead, we want to inherit it, extend it, like literally inherit it. So we can say extends person. Once we say extends person, we get rid of this, and we get rid of this. Okay? Now we can say S equal new student. We give it Yunus, and we give it grade, let's say 17 or something. That is pretty weird. And we can say hi. Because the student extends the person, it means it will inherit all its properties, including name and including say hi. So the student now have access to name and have access to say hi, even though say hi is not defined in the student class. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is the idea behind inheritance. You can go home and practice it more, but the idea behind it is that if we have a class, we can build another class that inherits and get the functionalities of this class. This is sort of the idea. And here we call super. There is something called super here. We say name. This is just, we are saying that, let me just bring a person. Yeah. We are saying here that before building a student, we need to initialize its parent because it's inheriting from it. So super name, it will call the person constructor, this person. This is some details, we will talk about it, but remember that we use the word extend if we have a class and we want to inherit some features from another class. I will copy this and put it here maybe in the class 12. So to build a React class-based component, we use the word extend and we say React, React is what we imported. The same way we have React DOM.render, we have React .component. Does this make sense? That we are extending from React.component. It's not something we defined, it's something we get from React. The same way we got this method, React DOM.render, we have a component called React.component. Or we have a class called React.component, and hello user is inheriting from it. Does this trigger any sense or make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. So the same way we have like here we have a function component and we want to return some JSX, we can return here like this. That's not possible. We cannot do that. So instead, we need to define a method called render. Okay, and inside it, we return the same thing. So render is a conventional method. It means you need to name it render. React assumes that there's a method called render that React will use. And after that, you just use it the same way. So we can replace this one with this one, and it will work literally the same way. We are missing something we need to change, but does this make sense? What's the difference between class-based and a function-based? People are shifting more from the class to the function. We will see why in the next few weeks, but just to get because still a lot of code that you will work on is class-based and gives you a foundation why React, about React history. Does this make sense? How we built this class and has a render method and returns?
Yes.
Okay. What we are missing now is props.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
We always must to extend a class like a React.component.
Yes, it's a convention. To build a React component, you need to extend React component and define a method called render. These are the two conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, it will just not work. That's like how we should do it. If you have a function, doesn't matter, but the class works this way. So
I think just to extend on that a little bit, so React.component has a lot of stuff already built into it. So if you want to explore this afterwards, you can. But as we continue on in the weeks, you'll see we'll pull more functionality out of that React.component. But right now, it's just the render method from React.component that we have to concern ourselves with. So it seems like a lot of extra steps for not much more gain relative to a functional component, but by the end of the class, you'll see why we need those extra methods or extra built-in things that React.component gives us.
Precisely. Thank you for that. So we are missing one more thing, which is props. Before we could use props.name directly because they are passed to the function. But here, this is not a function. We cannot pass anything directly to it. It's a class. You could write this, something like this, but no, that's not how it works. Because this is a class. Render is called by React and so many things. So the way it's done is that you can use something called this.props. The same way we used this.name and stuff here, we can use this.props. And this.props, it's literally the same as saying only props here. The only difference is that this is a class. We need to use we need to use the context of the class. And you can say this.props.name and this.props.age and stuff like that. So here we can just say this.props, no. We can copy this code here and put it here immediately. And say this.props. Yeah. So now literally they produce the same output. They produce the same thing. You can see here, they are like literally equivalent. I will split my screen. Split right. So this is the function. This is the class. Just take a look at it, grasp it, see how it's structured. Does it make sense?
I have a question, Yunus.
Yes.
So function is different and class is different, right? We will just use any one independently, right?
Yes, but
So,
they achieve the same thing.
Yeah, that I understand. So in the class method, will it not? Why is it not throwing any error that props is not defined?
Because we are using this dot props.
Where have you written props at all?
What do you what? Can you explain that again?
Because let's assume we are just thinking only about this class type.
Okay.
So from line 6 to line 17, it doesn't exist, right?
Line 6, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's only from line 19 that we are going to see.
Exactly.
So my question is, this dot in line 22 we have used this dot props, right?
Yes.
So have we declared or have we initialized props somewhere? It's a variable, right? Of type object.
But this is not a variable.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this. Yeah. Okay, not that one. What about props? Props is a variable of type object.
Yeah, but props exist inside the this. So when React creates an instance of this class, it will prepare props for us. The same way React will pass the props to us in the function.
Okay.
It will.
Sorry, because we didn't have a chance to learn about this. We have just used it in the class without knowing. I mean, yeah, we know why we use this, but okay. So it comes directly from Hello Users class.
Exactly.
Right?
So
okay.
React will, every time React sees something like this, Hello User class, it will say new Hello class and do some work and prepare the props for you and prepare all the work for you and run the render method to produce some output.
Okay, so then when it runs line 36 or line 37, when it takes the name Yunus and age 17, it knows that is the props.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
It will collect these props and put them in this object. So this object is equivalent to the object inside here, to this props.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just a different way of accessing it. React gives you two different ways of accessing it, but they serve the same purpose. React prepares the world for us. We just access it.
Johannes, there are few fellow students who are not able to join call after our lunch break. One is Bengu, another is Magnus, and Mohammed.
Seriously? I don't have any clue. Why.
Yeah, because they just say that they should be admitted by the host. They say something like that.
And also Kriti.
I can see an admit.
Kriti as well, yes.
But I don't see any admit button here. Participant.
1, 2, 3. Around, I think 4 or 5 people are waiting to join.
That's pretty stupid. Let's stop the screen share. Let's see here. Admit. Okay, so this is what happens when you come late. I think everybody's here now.
Mohammed, Magnus.
I'm here. Just Magnus or
Kriti. I don't know. Is Kriti is not here.
Kriti here.
Kriti, are you here?
Amy is here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think.
Yes, she's here.
Also Magnus and Bangu.
I think we missed you now.
Yes, please try to be on time because this is like an online meeting. It has so many sort of edge conditions, like just edge cases that we want to eliminate. So because please try to be here on time because just we can avoid stuff like that.
Hey, Jonas, can I ask a question?
Yes, Benjamin.
Did you need to accept them to get in, or could they just come in automatically?
I don't have any clue. I just heard now that I could accept people, but probably they cannot be admitted after sharing my screen or something.
Ah, okay. And then you like need to accept them.
Yeah, I think something like that, because before they could just join the call, but now when I share my screen, they are not able to join them. So please, people, when we say time, try to respect it, please, because you could see there's so many edge cases like that which we don't know about. Just so we can avoid any sort of yeah. Should we go back to sharing?
Hi, excuse me?
Yes.
Hello? Before we go back, just Video Police here. Hi. You're recording this just before we move on. Thank you. Also.
I am recording. It's 20 minutes already.
Oh, yeah. Just want to confirm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. So going back to the context where we were just explaining the difference between a class and a function component. They kind of achieve the same thing until now. There is some extra features for both of them, but from what we covered until now, they are both equivalent. Both, they allow us to sort of like take some piece of HTML and JavaScript or JSX and put them together so we can reuse them. Does it make sense?
So maybe I could add something just quickly there, because I remember when I was first learning about classes in React, the thing that confused me is when we extend React component and create our own class, we don't have to call, at least in this version of React, we don't have to call constructor or super like we were shown in the previous example when we created our own classes. And that's because a lot of that magic has been abstracted to React itself, as well as through, I think it happens in the compilation process. So the reason we don't see props defined anywhere, like normally that if this was a normal class, it'd be defined in the constructor. That's because the props object itself is defined within the React component, and then Babel transpiles something, I think it's through Babel, where it eliminates the need for us to have to call super on React.component, like we were shown in the previous example, to pass through the props. So a lot of where things are defined can sometimes be magically hidden behind the React curtain. So definitely make a point to mention when something's completely unclear, because a lot of times it's just React kind of taking care of things on our behalf.
Yeah, he's talking about this exactly, just people don't get confused. So that we don't need to call constructor and super and stuff like that. And yes, I hope people got what he said. I assume so. Yes. So I assume that people are familiar now with the class and the function-based component. There is no questions. Should we continue?
Yeah, I guess we are a bit familiar with it, but I guess we don't know it like by heart. So it takes a bit an extra while to process the information through the class.
Exactly.
But we can follow. We can follow. I guess I can follow most of
it. This is a classic programming thing. You will never get like familiar with the concept introduced first. It takes practice. That's the key. But if we can continue, and I want to show you some sort of cool things, not really cool, but just like sort of guide you or show you the what we can achieve doing this. Imagine that I have a list of names. So let's say let's create a class component. Call it say hi to multiple people. Okay? Extends React dot component. Make sense? We have a render. In the render, we will return a UL, for example. Damn it. So here we will delete these two and say hi to multiple people. Of course, now our say hi to multiple people returns a UL that it's empty. I assume people are okay with this. We created a new component, it's empty, and we say hi to multiple people. Okay, let's say I want to create a component, which is this one, that instead of saying say hi to this person and say hi to this person, I can just do it automatically by passing an array. So I can prepare an array and say const and say users and say it's an array object. I can say name, Yunus, and age is 25. We can also take Fernando and take 24. Does this make sense? I assume so. It's just an array with 2 objects. So say hi to multiple people. It will take people, and we pass users here. So we are passing an array to a component. That means if we console log here, and say this.props, what props gonna be? Can somebody guess?
It's going to be the users.
Give me
two
the shape,
objects.
give me the shape of the object, the key and the values inside the object precisely.
Yeah, it should be one object with name Yunus as the value of the key and age 25, and the other one Fernando and 24.
So you are saying that props? You're saying that, just let me...
I'm saying that props is nothing but users array of objects.
So you are saying that props is actually an array?
No, props is props is an
object or what?
Yeah, object.
Yeah, what does it have?
The first value is going to be Yunus 25, that pair.
So its name?
Yeah.
Yunus?
Yeah, Yunus, yes. Age 25.
Okay.
I'm not sure, Yunus. I'm just to guess. Yeah.
Of course, that's the thing. We will let's debate that and try to run it in our heads.
But I think there would be an array in this object. I mean, the props itself would be an object, but then the user array will be in this object.
Yes, exactly. You are right. So let's go back and think about the primitives. What did I say before? That the keys that you pass here, they will be inside an object. So let's think about that. Which keys I have here? I have people. So I have people here. Because if you think about it, name goes here, Yunus goes here. So now we have people, and we have this array here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we are passing an object. It has a key called people, and the value of that key is the array. Because we are saying people, its value is users. If we say age equal 27, we have 2 keys, one called people with an array and one age with a number.
So the prop has 2 properties. One is people, the other one is age in that case.
Yes, now it has only one. One's called people.
No,
so,
yeah.
So we can say props.people. And props.people will give us users. And we can visualize that here. You can see here that we have people. It's an object that has an array.
Yeah.
If we name this to people 23 or 234, the key would be 234 with the array. So when we do this.props, what does it give us again? If somebody can recall that, I just explained it.
Yeah, this dot props is going to give us people.
It will give us an object with a people key.
Yes, yeah.
This.props will give us an object. It's always an object, and it has the keys enumerated here.
Yeah.
So this.props give us an object. This.props.people, what does it give us?
Users array.
It's the users array. Why? Because the people here has the value users. So this.props.people will be referring to this one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jonas,
So,
can I ask you
yes,
something?
yes,
I'm looking at the lesson plan.
yeah.
So we are now in props. And is this passed down using an identifier, a self-identifier attribute name? Is that item? No, or it's not related to this. I just want to know where am I going to put this in the knowledge, in the structure.
This is just, I'm trying to explain props more, I would say. That's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to stretch your understanding of props.
Perfect.
So you don't center it around numbers and things. You can pass anything as a prop. That's what I'm trying to achieve by this. It's just stretching your understanding around props.
Awesome, thanks.
I think looking at the lesson plan, this is more or less covering that bullet point, which you just mentioned. So yes to your question.
Cool. Yes, so if we say const people equal this.props.people. So people is what? Is this.props.people. This is what is the class. Props is the props passed to this class, which is here, and it has a key called people and a value users. So people key will give us the value users. And we get that here. So now I could actually go dummy and say, I can borrow the hello user. I can use the hello user here and give it name and age. Name and age. So when I say people, when I say, let me just start with the age. When I say people of 0, what does it give me? It gives me this object. So I can say people of 0 dot age. And people of 1 dot age. And I can do the same here. I can do this. And I can say 1 here. And here we can say name, name.
Maybe, Yunus, is it a good idea to change in line 35 the name of people to something else? I think I'm really getting confused with 2 people.
Okay. We can name it. I don't have a better name. Let's go and name it data, the way Benjamin hates it. let's name it data.
Or classy people.
What?
Or multiple people, something like that, or
multiple.
Can you name it Martians?
I picked the first name that was said, so I'm sorry for that. Sorry, that was just an auto import. So you can see here that I'm rendering 2 users and I'm getting the first object from the array, the first object from the array and age. So this one will take this name, this one will take this age. We go to 1 instead now. We take this one and 1 we go to this one. Does this make sense? Of course, there's repetition in this code. That's the whole thing, that I want to solve this repetition. But does this make sense?
I have a question. So are we using both class and function in the same example?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about it that they both sort of do the same thing. It's like a div and a span. You can mix them. So there's no difference between a class and a function. They both return some code to display something. That's how you should think about them. They both have a render method or the body of the function, and they return some HTML or some JSX. So don't try to say this is a class, it's special, or this is a function. No. Both, they return something to display to the screen. There is nothing special about function or class in the sense of React. They are used to serve the same purpose. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in line 38 and 39, so when it sees hello user, what it is going to do is it is going to render the name and the age, right? That's what it's going to do.
Yeah, it will go to this one and run it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I can render it directly here, right? I don't have to go to hello user. I can directly render it inside the UL by using a map for each or whatever.
I don't understand. So you don't want to use this component, if that's correct.
No, I mean to say I can iterate through multiple people and
Yeah, so you want to automate it. You want to automate it. If that's right. You want to
my question is why I need to call hello user. That's my question.
It's because imagine that you are working on an app that render the users. Okay, imagine that hello user here has some styling and has some logic. If I want to replace hello user here with my own text, means I need to duplicate this. Does it make sense? Means this needs to be duplicated here inside of hello users. But what I did now is that I'm building a reusable component. I can reuse it multiple times. And if I want to change hello here to goodbye, I can just change it in one place. And I don't need to touch anything else. This is exactly what we were talking about before, that in a video player or in a video list, you can change one thing and that will affect all the app. You don't need to think about the app as a large thing. Does that make sense? Or
yes and no.
So
to some extent yes, but somewhere I'm lost. I don't know how to explain it.
Is it confusing using a component inside a component?
I think so.
So I think what can be confusing about using a component inside a component is it's just initially it's hard to get your head around, and I think one thing I struggled with is initially is understanding what's the value of using a component in a component, like, and why do we have all this HTML inside our GSX, and what's the point of doing all this? And I think if we take it back to the initial example before we got into any of the code, do you remember when we were looking at the screen YouTube where we had the video player and the list of all the videos that we could click on?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So if we were to look at that in terms of what we know now with React, the list of videos at the side there, that would be one component. So that would be a list of videos. But each component there, that thumbnail with the little text underneath, we do that for every item within that list. So that would be one component in and of itself. So for our example here, that can be the hello user that we want to reuse. So that component, we can call it whatever we want. We could call it video item. And then what we're doing in this example here is we can create another component based off that component, which renders a list of them. So essentially what you want to do is break everything into these very small little Lego bricks almost. And React really shines when we start composing those Lego bricks together to create a bigger picture of things. So I think once Eunice gets to the end of this example here, it might start clicking a bit better when you see the full picture. But just think of the individual components as little Lego bricks that we can use to reuse logic in different places and then click them into place once we get to a bigger picture.
Okay. Maybe I will wait till the end to see how I've got it.
And what he's explaining, it's super helpful. So imagine you are building a real app. A real app has, for example, an app component like this, and it has a navbar, and it have like navigation, and each navigation is actually a link like this. And we have, for example, here main, and the main is like video player. And next to the video player, we say video list. And under the video player, we have, for example, some comments. So we can say comment list. And we can say comment Does it make sense? This is why we nest. This is why a component render another component, because this is the natural way. Until now, when you did some HTML and stuff, you've been like doing it this way. Inside a div, you put another div, you put a UL, you put another UL, and the component model is not different. You can have an app component that render a navbar and a main, and the main would render a video list and render a comment list. Does that make sense? Like it's literally like the same way you have been building HTML. You compose things. A div will have a UL inside it, a UL will have an li inside it, an li. And that's exactly the same what we do here. We have an H1, we have a say hi to multiple people. Say hi to multiple people returns 2 hello users. Hello users could render an H3. It's exactly the purpose, or it's exactly the same thing like what I've been doing before, but just now it's like more polished, and we do it in a good way. So we don't need to nest all your HTML here, but each component will have its complexity. Let me just brush upon something here important. So I don't know if some people noticed, but we have a law of repetition here. Imagine if we add another element here. What are we going to do? Go and duplicate another component here? That is kind of too much. So I think in your toolbox, you have sort of a skill that you can use to automate this. So every time you add more or you delete, you don't need to do that manually. What's the thing that we can use here?
We can use higher order functions.
For each.
Yeah.
For each?
Map method.
Exactly. So we can use our JavaScript skills like for each map and stuff to brush up on this and make it better. Let's remove all the instances and only keep one. So what do we want to do? What we want to do is take people. So take multiple people and map over it. Okay. So we can say people here. Or sorry, person. Now this function will return a hello user like this. And instead of name here, we say person.name, person.age. We still didn't run it, but does this make sense? That we are mapping over the array?
Yeah.
So now we can literally, so what's the return of this? Multiple people.map. What does it return?
It returns an array. Map returns an array, right?
Yeah, an array of what?
Of users, name and age?
No, it will return an array of components. It will return an array of components. The way you should think about it is that, let me just do this air server. I don't know. Okay, so the way you should think about it is that we are taking this, and we are transforming it into what? We are transforming it into, so we take one object here, we take one object person, and we replace it by this. And we take the second one and we replace it by this. And this is Yunus, this is Yunus, this is 25, this is 25. And we continue the process. Does it make sense? We are mapping from a person object into a person or a hello user component. So for each person, we return a hello user component. Does this make sense for you?
Can we see how this will render?
Yes. So let me just finish this. Multiple people will return an array, and it will be an array of hello users. If we plug it here, of course, we said that we cannot do this because if you will do this, it will literally render multiple people. Because it's a JavaScript code, we need to do this. And if we put this here, whoop, it doesn't work. It's because, well, yeah, it's because of something. We need to do result here, like this. We are rendering multiple people. So the return of the array, we need to save it and do that. So now we have hello Yunus, go ahead. Hello Fernando, go ahead. Hello Fernando, go ahead. If we make this 17, it will change one of the logics. So this will render 3 different elements. Why? Because we have 3 objects here. We map over them. For each object, we return a hello user component. That means that because I have 3 objects, I will have 3 hello user components. When I plug them here, when I render them, when I return them, I'm returning an array of 3 different components. And they will be rendered by React here. You should literally think about it as this. It's literally like this. It's literally like this. It's an array of 3 components. Why? Because we have 3 objects and we convert them into 3 components. Does this make sense? Or it's...
I am confused about something.
Yes.
We are talking now about how to do this with a class.
It's the same. There is no difference between a class and a function.
But if I need to choose...
Choose what?
Can I choose between using a class or using a function?
Yeah, until now, as I told you, it's completely equivalent. If I will introduce something that the class has it and the function doesn't have it, or function has it and the class doesn't have it, I will be telling you. But until now, they are literally the same. There is no
What would you use, the class or the function?
We have 5 more weeks. We have 5 more weeks, and you will learn so many things that every one of them has its own strengths and weaknesses. So there's so many things to learn about the differences between them. But until now, we didn't learn anything about that. That it's specific. We are super generic. So in like week 3, week 4, you will see that I cannot use this class for X. I can only use a function for X, and function doesn't serve Y function. If you get what I mean. So until now, they are like serving the same purpose. You don't need to know any difference between them. Pick the one that you feel comfortable with. Once we will start introducing the differences, you will notice that, oh, this can be only done with the class. Oh, this can only be done with the function. Does this make sense?
Yes, it makes sense, Yunus. I understand everything that you said, but somehow I feel I'm confused about something. I don't know what. I'm just not able to ask that, but I know maps and I know you're rendering it. I know how everything is working. I understand, but somewhere I'm lost.
Yeah, but honestly, it kind of makes sense. The first time I saw React, I saw like this website React with these examples. I was like, what the fuck? Like it took me some time. So take it easy. Your mind needs some time to grasp it. You will have troubles. Like it's a different way of thinking. So don't take it as it's like you should. Don't expect that I'm explaining this to you. So after my explanation, you should be like ready to go. No, it's not that. It's not that simple. It took me maybe months to be able to like brush up on my skills and to be able to use it properly. So
can I ask you something?
yes.
Of course, the class should continue the course, but can we do the exercise? Not now, but I mean
Yes.
at any given point.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about we will do it now because because this is the last knowledge that you need to do the homework, kind of. So if people are comfortable with this, we can go for an exercise. If you don't have any questions, do you?
I am a bit confused, but I'm hoping the exercises will help us to clarify the things.
There is a lot of confusion. Damn it. Okay. Let's try and do pick an exercise.
I think it'll certainly help doing an exercise. I find learning React, it's like learning how to drive a car and learning how the stick shift and all of that works by sitting in the passenger seat. You know, you understand that you have to move the stick in certain directions, and there's 3 pedals underneath, and you do something with those pedals. But until you sit in the driver's seat, it's hard for it to click for most people.
Exactly. So we will go for an exercise now. I'm just trying to pick a good one.
But before we start with an exercise, we need the setup with us, right?
Yeah, so I will show you, hopefully the setup will work for you easily if you have a Mac or something, and even Windows. But if there is a problem, I will show you an alternative you can do until you reach the proper setup. There's a website you can code online on it if there is a problem with the setup. So at least you can focus with the homework and leave the setup for when you are home with proper internet and stuff. I mean, like, not when you are home, when you have time to actually, you don't need to follow a video. So we will try maybe to do a similar exercise. So I will just describe it here, so you will be able to see my screen. So you will need to create like a small interface with React, the same way we did it here. And what you will need to build or to show in the user is something like, so I will just try to write an interface here, because clearly my Mac doesn't work to draw, which is pretty stupid. Let me just try something. If somebody has a question or something, please ask while I'm
Can you share the link from where you took the create native app, so that we can, meanwhile, we can try to install it?
It's in Slack. It's in class 12 in Slack. I
Okay.
posted it before. This is pretty stupid. But yeah, so you will build something like this. So you would say, welcome to my app. And you will have a list of users. So you will try, maybe not a list of users, but a list of like maybe recipes or something. So you can say something, I don't know, like dish number 1, dish number 2. Like, enjoy the menu or something like that. So you build like a small interface like this. So this will be, you are following with me, I guess. This will be just some text here. This will be a list of things. So it will be ul dish xxx. And here you will have, so this would be named the header component. This will be named footer component. And this will be list component. Does this make sense, exercise-wise, that you need to build this? Do we need more clarification?
No, it's clear.
Okay, so just the header component that renders this, footer component that renders this, and the list component that renders these 3, and wire them together in a render. So you will have some time until like 20 minutes, 25 minutes from now, maybe, something like that. We'll see the vibes and decide the time based on that. But yeah, Please do that. I shared with you the link how you can do create React app. If some people they have a problem, you can use Code Sandbox. Code Sandbox is an online React editor. Yeah, so we can say React. And now we share it in class 12. So I've shared it in class 12. Please use try to spend 5 minutes or something installing. It should work out of the box, create React app. If it doesn't work for you, and especially if you're on like Windows or something, try to use Code Sandbox. And I explained a bit more about Code Sandbox. It is simply just an app.js, index.js, and you can just edit and you can see the view here. So it's like actually really cool. Does that make sense? Could you go and start working on your homework now?
Jonas, you mean we can use this website if we don't, if the app we can't initialize this app in our computer?
If somebody have a problem with like network, NPM doesn't want to work, stuff like that.
But if it's work, so it's okay. We can do it by our own.
Please. Yeah, please do it on your own so you can actually get a hand of developing locally and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more serious.
That's fine.
But other than that, it's also important to do the homework. So please do it. If you have any questions, reach us. We are here. Maybe one thing I can explain is that dishes is an array with dish number 1, dish number 2. Like this, just to give you a bit more context about the dishes.
Hello, hello, Eunice. If you can hear me, I know it's not only me, but we cannot hear you. So we can only see the screen.
You cannot hear me.
Oh, now I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, because I wasn't talking. You're not supposed to hear me
Yeah.
when I'm not talking.
Okay. It was just so dead silent, literally nothing in the background. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
In the lesson plan, do we have the steps of making a project? At the beginning, we did npm install.
Yeah, you do an NP. You can use the same like if you go to the link that I sent you, there is npx. You can try to use npx maybe. There is this. I'll just show it here. Yeah, it's here. You can do. I've shared this web with you. You can do that. npx create React app and give it the name of your app, or you can use npm install -g. The name and after that create React app, the name of your app. Really up to you. But try to use npx first. This line.
Yunus?
Yes.
Why is it taking like so much of time? Will it take such a long time to install?
Because it's installing all the dependencies, like React and everything. Like it's like npm install. It takes forever.
Okay.
Yes.
Yunus, it is okay, right? I'm working on Sandbox and I'm not installing it right now. I will install the setup after class.
Yeah, if you are confident that you can get the setup to work after, try it. But it's completely up to you. But I would like that you use the create React app, and it doesn't work for you.
Okay.
I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I execute the line one, and it seems everything installed that needed installed correctly. But when I do cd my app, it says the path the system cannot find the path.
Try
And when I
to. If you are not spelling your file properly, can you try to say ls, for example, I think it's called dir in Windows, to list your files. Just check if the file is already there, actually.
in the folder,
Yeah, because trying to enter a file, try to see if the file exists or not.
no, it doesn't make the file.
It doesn't make a folder.
No, doesn't make the folder.
So it didn't run properly. I don't know. Does it give you an error when it runs, or
No error. There is no error, but seems it's add one version of yarn. So
I cannot hear you properly. Can you just?
can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's better. It's really better.
Okay. It seems it installed and also delete some files.
That is weird. It should not. It should just create a folder for you. It should not delete or anything. It should just create a folder.
Can I say a print screen of the?
Yeah. You can.
Yunus,
Yes.
um, uh, could you share the code that we wrote in the class, because I'm just lost to start from nowhere. I don't know what to type the first line. If we can see this, maybe we can do it better.
Yeah. It's second.
You first import the React libraries, right?
What?
You first imported the React libraries, right?
Yes. It should be. It should be like that. You should find it ready in Create React app or Code Sandbox both. They import React, and if you open on like the index.js file, you should find it like ready there. You should find like import React from thing.
I sent a error message.
Yes,
Not
I am taking login.
I have a question, Yunus.
Yes.
So in the exercise, the first and the last line, the header and the footer, there is nothing to work on it. It's just to display, right? So that we can do directly on render DOM. I mean, we
No.
don't need to put it inside a class, right?
No, create a component so you can get, because React or programming is about practicing. If you create enough components, you'll be able to grasp exactly what the component means, how it's built. You know what I mean? So teach yourself to build. So build 3 components: one called footer, one called header, one called dishes list.
Okay.
It's just better for you. Like I know that it's.
Yeah, but no, only now I got it that I have to, even if it is a simple thing, I have to split it into a component. So I just didn't understand that. So it's good. I'll do that way.
Yeah. Mm.
Yunus, can you have the question on one side and the code on the other side, maybe? Is it possible?
Yeah, I can do that. Definitely. I can also just pass the code in Slack. It's really simple.
Yunus?
Yes.
Yeah. So in my React DOM.render, which I'm going to write, it is just going to have 3 components. It is not going to have any loose HTML tags, right? Like for example, the code that you said.
It's really up to you. Like there is some requirements that you need to implement, but exactly put it in a div, in a UL, how to structure them in a list. That's really up to you. It's not like really. It's completely up to you.
But in this case, in this example, we assuming that we create as 3 separate components, then there's going to be a div, and directly after the div, it's going to start with the 3 components, right? I mean, here, like
You can also not put them. You can also introduce a navbar or a main component, or really up to you. There's 3 components. Where you put them exactly, completely up to you. Just one in the top, one in the bottom, one in the middle. You could have a div inside a div, or a div inside a span, or a div inside the UL. Up to you.
Okay. Yunus?
Yes.
Yeah, suddenly I got some crazy question. Okay, so so in all the cases, like whenever we start a new app, React DOM.render should always be there in all the app.
Yes, because the render is the one responsible for like starting React and rendering some stuff. Otherwise, we'll have an empty div.
Okay, but then so I'm
It's like you should think about React.render like the body of your HTML.
the React DOM.render thing.
Yeah, it's like the body version, but there where you start rendering, and components will render other components. It's like a tree. Components will render.
Yeah, but my doubt is okay. So for example, if you see the hello class hello user, or maybe class say hi to multiple people, so there you return a HTML tag, right, with something inside. So will that not become my body? Why do I need a React DOM.render? Because anyways, I'm extending. Yeah.
Yes, because you can, for example, create a class called video and create class user and create classes like that. But how to put them together and put them inside the HTML? You need React render is the one responsible for doing that. Because, for example, if we create a class below user class, what I'm gonna put inside, which name I'm gonna put in it, how I'm gonna structure it, should I left, right, under, div, above, div. So when you build classes, it's like you are building a blueprint, just like a schema. And in the render, you actually use these to build something.
No, I don't understand. I don't understand the difference actually.
Yeah, so let's say you build this class, okay?
Okay.
Imagine building these classes. It's like building a P and a div and a span. They are defined somewhere. P and div and span and input. The browser built this for you.
Okay.
Does it make sense? The browser built these for you. You can just use them. The browser built them for you. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to repeat this. I just don't understand why
Yeah.
we react dom dot render, because
But just try to follow my logic because I'm trying to build up some knowledge so I can reach that point. That's what I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you use an input,
Okay.
where the input comes from? Where the input comes from? It's from the browser.
Yes, right.
So the browser built it for you. The browser built a component for you.
Yeah.
When the browser defines the component, does it dictate where it should be used and how it should be used? No. It only gives you a component and you are free to use it how many places.
Yeah.
So it's the same way. When we define these functions and these components, we are not dictating how they should be used. We are only making them available to be used.
Okay.
They are not used. So we have hello user, hello user. If I delete hello user from here,
Mhm.
it will never be used. It's like not using a select or an input. It's there, but no one uses it.
Okay. I understand now. Yes.
Yes. So we define some components like b, div, tag, and stuff like that, and after that we bring them alive by rendering them.
Yeah.
So there's the definition part. We define the components, we define the video list, we define the things. For example, in a page like this one,
Mhm.
it not sure if yeah, if we open Twitter, for example, if we open Twitter, we have tweets here. We have tweet 1, tweet 2, tweet 3, tweet 4.
Yes.
Somebody built a component called the tweet, but they didn't dictate how to be used.
Okay. Yeah.
So we render them in
Understand.
the DOM like this.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for the navigation list. We have a navigation item.
Yeah. Maybe if I can tell this way, not exact comparison, but just like a mental level of understanding.
Yes,
It's
please
like
do. Yeah.
we are writing a function, but we have not called the function.
Exactly. We are defining the function to be used, but could we use it or not, it's up to us.
Yes. I got it now.
So so you can think about a function like a chunk of UI. We define a chunk, a bit of UI. We could use it or not. How we use
Yes.
it, when we use it, where to use it. I could put this inside a div, above a div, on the top level, delete it, add it. That's different from defining it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The function example was really good. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And maybe I don't know about others. For me, it's just 10 minutes left. If you can we do it together?
Yeah.
Maybe if other people agree with it.
We will do it together. Just give them a few minutes. But
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with Swati.
We will do it together. Don't worry.
Yeah, sure.
And then
It's
we
a
will have the recording, so that will be great to go back to it.
It's not a homework. It's an exercise. It needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yunus, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in the for example, in class hello user, so where in the line 26 where you try to return, so why have you returned it inside the braces? If it is a single line of return, can we do it in a single line without using the braces?
Which line? Can you just repeat which line again?
Yeah, sure. Line, oh sorry, I think you're scrolling. Line 13 where you return H3. So
Yeah.
can I do it in a single line without using the braces after return?
It's only for readability.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
It can be done this way.
Yeah. Okay.
It can be done this way. It's only for readability.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Muhammad asked a question, and I don't know if he's here with us. Can he hear me? No.
Yes, I hear you. Yes, I hear you.
Cool. Yeah. So it's quite interesting what you did. Super cool. You are only missing two things. You are missing a footer and a header. The dishes works properly. It's really good. I really like that. You are only missing the footer and a header, because we discussed that. So you did this part about showing the dish list. On the top of it, we have a header component, and down it we have a footer component. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but why I can't see anything in the browser when I run the local host?
Let me just check.
The same for me.
Let's say I will copy your code. Okay, I will copy your code.
Okay.
I cannot copy it actually.
Now you can't.
No.
You can.
Just a second. Just
okay. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like this. So this is your code. Vendor. What do you see here? This one. Okay, your problem is that you are returning an H3 and a UL. Okay?
Yeah.
This I forget to say that, but well, it's not really. I think it's a common knowledge that always when you return something, wrap them in a parent. So always return one element and inside it put other things. So in your case, you have an H3 and a UL. Put them in a div together.
Okay. So I can't return just one thing with another things. It's like a package.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I will try.
That worked for me, and dish item. And also there is no component called dish item. So yeah. Yes. Can we start now correcting the exercise? And you can follow it on the video or keep working on it at home. Is everybody here?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, so this code you already have it in Slack, so I will just wipe it. So we will start by importing React from React and import React DOM from React DOM. Until here we are good. I will say React DOM.render. I'll just give it an H1. I always try to start simple so I can see if things are working or not. Otherwise, I would start writing a lot of code and I will not have any clue when it doesn't. And I will say document .get element by ID, and we have root. Now this should give me hello W, which is right. Everybody is following?
Yes.
Cool. So we said that we have a header, footer, and thing. Instead of rendering them here, I will create a component called app. So let's say class app extends React dot component. and it has a render. This will return a div with a component called header. Whoop. And a footer and dish list. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Let's create a function called header. We create a function called dish list. You can also create a class, completely up to you. Let's make the last one a class. Class footer extends react component, and we have render. So we said that in the header, we want to render welcome to my app. So we say return h1, welcome to my app. And in the footer, we say return h3, enjoy the menu. Does it make sense until now? Or I went too fast?
Yes.
Okay. This is super simple. Now we come to the dish list. What I need is I need a list of dishes. So I will say const dishes, and I will say dish 1. I will just not be super dish 2 and dish 3. Okay. Now we have dishes. Now inside the dish, let's see if does it work now. It clearly doesn't. Yes. Why it doesn't work?
Because it's not given inside React DOM.render.
Exactly, because I'm rendering an h1 inside DOM render. Instead, I should render the app like this. This will work, except it will give us a problem because dish list is not returning anything. We can say return an empty string. That will work. So we have welcome to my app, enjoy the menu. Because I have header, footer, dish list, it's not here. I'm rendering app. App is here. App is rendering these three things. The first one, the third one, and we have the second one. Now let's say we pass dishes. Okay? So we say dishes here. So now I have props. When I say props.dishes, console.log, props.dishes. What does it refer to? So when you see a props means you need to look where it's rendered, and dish list is rendered here. Okay? And it's rendered here, and it's giving dishes with the dishes array. So props the dishes, it's equivalent to this one, which is this one, which is this one. Does this make sense? Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So we have dishes now. So now what we can do is we say dishes.map, and that will give us a dish. We can return an li and say we put here dish. And we say return. This will give us const dishes components. Wow. Components. Does this make sense? This line here that we are mapping over dish and returning an li. Before we were returning. Okay, cool. Yeah. So now what we can do is return a UL. And inside the UL, we put the list or the array of dishes components. And does give us dish 1, dish 2, dish 3, and dish 4. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Do you have any questions regarding that?
We'll find out in the homework.
Yeah, definitely. The homework is quite similar to this one. So.
It seems really good. Can you just change the 22 for dish items so it won't mix up with the 49 first dish?
Okay, so we can say array of dishes.
Yeah. So because when you look at it later, we might don't remember, so it will be easy.
Yeah.
Yunus, I have a question now.
Yes.
I think it's maybe very basic, but suddenly I got this question. Like, why can't I, do line 22 inside function dish list and use that directly? Why do I need props?
Yes, props allows you to customize the components. Means now I can render this with a different set of dishes. But if I will use this immediately inside the dish list here, if I will use it like this, I cannot change the dishes from outside anymore.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So it's like an image tag. An image tag will take the source. If the image tag will render an image immediately inside, use the URL inside, it will never be able to be reused. So never ever mention variables immediately inside. Always pass them as props. Don't mention names and stuff. Always pass them as props. Why? Because this allows the component to be changed from outside easily without doing anything inside.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
And I have another question. So line 49, it can be just dish list dishes, right? Just that, because that dishes is going to be like props, and I can access that directly, like dishes dot something. Why should it be like dishes equal to array of dishes?
Where you mean for
Oh,
which
no. Sorry. It's a bad question. I got it now.
Sorry. Any questions?
So yeah, just as I have a question. So okay. So I'm assigning it to, and I'm assigning the dishes to two different types of, not types, but two different variables. Like initially dish 1, dish 2, dish 3 is to array of dishes, and then array of dishes to dishes, right? So I'm making two assignments of that list.
Can you just mention? I don't understand. Can you mention lines of code? That's better, so I can follow.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so dish 1, dish 2, dish 3 is the list, right? Array list.
Yes, yeah, array of dishes.
So,
it's called
array of dishes. Yes, right. So initially that's called array of dishes in line 22.
Yeah.
And we are reassigning that to a different.
We're not reassigning. We are just creating an object that has different key. We're not reassigning.
Okay, so in line 47, dishes equal to array of dishes means what?
This is not assignment. This is because this will build an object with dishes as a key and the array of dishes as a value. But this is not assigning. This is building a props object.
Yes. Okay.
And the props object will be moved from here and passed it here.
Okay, so whatever exercise we do, whatever data that we have, it's going to be like in line 47 where we try to call the class, it's going to be assigned to a object, right? That's what we're doing in line 47.
Yes.
So that's the first step. Yeah.
If we say 17, it will also assign 2 keys to the object. The object will have 2 keys.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Can you send this code in Slack and
it's
the videos after? It's because it's a really good one to build up the to-do list in the homework.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great template.
But please, I'm telling you something. React is a new way of different things. It's like learning a musical instrument. It's like learning to cook with like a different sort of set of kitchen things. It takes practice. Please practice. It doesn't matter. You should not just go to this. Oh, okay, no, I understand. Oh, it's a component. Oh, it takes props. No, please practice so you can build up your muscle memory. For example, for me, I can type in React and type classes and compose them just because I have muscle memory, not because I am smart or anything. It's just muscle memory. So try to train your muscle memory so your mind will be like working
So
with
by
React.
practice, you mean you want us to write and not copy and paste and change the names? That's what you mean?
Exactly. If it takes you half an hour to come up with the right syntax, that half an hour will save you months of development because something is inside your mind now compared to someone who just like, oh, okay, I can just copy this and pass it there. So please invest in the future, not in the couple of hours.
Yeah, okay.
Really good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's like, it's really about the future. It's not about a couple of hours.
Thank you so much, Yunus, for today.
Yeah, of course. And please, if you have any, at least I've noticed that some people here, they have problems with installing Create React app. And I am aware of that. So we can sort of arrange some time or after class or something where maybe you can like share screens and stuff like that and try to debug it together or something. But please, try to take some time and just practice. I think I would say like React is a really beneficial experience if you will be able to knock it down. I think like it will open a lot of like a path toward like a career and stuff like that. So please try to take it seriously and just give it more time.
Yunus, I have a last question.
Yeah, ask. It's fine.
Yeah. So now when for example, when I do the homework or when I try to do multiple different exercises for my practice or something, so every time I create a folder and inside that folder, I do npm, whatever that initial steps like create React app, right? So every time I do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for creating a new project.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, I've been working on the same project for the past 2 years in my company, so I don't create new project every time. But if I'm starting a new project, I will do that. Yeah.
But just a question. Every time I open the project, I create it today, and if I'm going to be working tomorrow, I need to do the npm start to render.
Just to start the server. That's it. Yes, because you will kill it when you turn off your computer or something. It will be turned.
Awesome. Thanks.
I was thinking after Node.js, maybe the first class of React is going to be like easy breezy, but Node.js already was killing my head, and this React is going to kill my head more.
Yeah, it's not, but just take it as a learning experience. Don't stress yourself about it. Like think that you are actually putting a lot of effort, and that's a really good thing. And you are passing by a natural path that everybody. The only difference is that some people they have more time to grasp the information. You are kind of pressed in the time, but don't sort of let it stress yourself because that's actually it took me months and like years to be able to write proper JavaScript and stuff. So it's quite impressive that you can do it in a couple of months. So don't stress yourself because of that. You should be like proud of yourself because of that. So please, because if you keep stressing yourself that like I'm missing these things and I don't understand, there is a really bad takeaway from the classes. You need to understand that you are in a challenge. So take it as a fun thing, please, because you are already spending a lot of effort. It's not easy to occupy 4 hours of learning a completely new thing every Sunday. So it's please enjoy the experience, even though it's not enjoyable.
Yunus, may I have a question?
Yes.
What if one have two React dot render in the index.js file? Would it neglect the second one or what?
You can have like 3 different root divs and render 3 different Reacts to them, but I would say that's something that you should not do 95% of the time. That's like an edge case. It can be done 2%, 3%, but like 98, 95% of the time, you are going with one render and one div, empty div. That's what like most of the apps that I saw in my life do. There's a few exceptions, but I think the exceptions can come with time. more than from the beginning carrying them.
Thank you.
Yes. More questions? Please ask if you have any questions. And I will repeat again, the people who have problem with installing, you can just keep practicing in Code Sandbox, but we can allocate some time and try to sort it out.
Okay, so I'll try to find what's the errors. I can fix that so it doesn't.
I cannot hear.
I'll try to read the error and fix that. If it doesn't work, I'll send a screenshot or
Yeah, but feel free. We can do a screen share or something, and we can go through it in a video call or something. So no worries about that.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, my pleasure.
One thing that we have learned in Node.js that whenever that we change something in the server or in the backend side, another one was restarting the application. Is it something that React also do in the background? Because before, if we were changing something in JavaScript, we had to refresh the page, but now we don't need to refresh the page.
Yeah, if you, for example, add another dish now.
Yeah, it just updates that without you need to update the page or refresh the page. I just want to know what is going on in the background.
Yeah, it's just there is something called a file watcher. So there is an application for React script. It's just waiting for your files to change. If a file will change, it will recompile the app. That's it. You can. It's a bit not complex, but it's called file watcher. So I think it's called file. Is it Workman? Yeah, but they use something like that at it's event. I think it's also called FS event, but they just use this, and it's in combination with something called Webpack. So there's a quite a setup. There is Babel, there is Webpack, there is like FS events to listen for file events. So there is this is like it gives you a whole environment. So if you want to like read more about that, how it works or something, that's kind of beyond this class because we are not discussing here like file systems, but just go and learn more about Webpack.
Okay.
It's called Webpack. You can just learn more about it. Webpack inside it, you will find all these dependencies around like Walkman and FS events and stuff like that. But it's not really something you need now. Maybe in the future, but not really something important now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions, please?
No, thank you.
No, for me it's all right.